It is the weekend. Happy Friday. This is the Rich Report, bringing you the richest content across entertainment. My name is Cameron Richardson. Welcome back to the channel. If you're watching on YouTube, if you're listening on Apple or Spotify, welcome as well. Got a lot to talk about today. We're talking about the Washington NFL team allegations first. Then we're going to get into the weekend preview, and then to close out every Friday, the infamous Fruit Loops of the Week segment. David Church and Johnny Crane joining, as always. Gentlemen, how are you doing?
I'm doing fantastic. As you can already notice, I have stepped up my game and gotten a microphone. It is beautiful. Shout out to Papa Church. He's the GOAT for getting me this beautiful piece of hardware here. Got a little arm action for you so I can go wherever I want to go. And now Johnny's the only bum without a mic, so we get to make fun of him for that. It's a beautiful day. It's a beautiful weekend. It's going to be a beautiful weekend. We got Fruit Loops today. Love that cereal. It's going to be great.
Yeah, I got to step up my game. Trust me, gentlemen, it is on the list. It is on the agenda to get one. It's Friday. It's payday. Hey, David, you stepped up your game like that. Now you have to step up your game and realize that the Diamondbacks are not the NLS team to beat. That's all. Let's get into this.
Watch your mouth, son.
We cannot go one intro without bringing up the D-backs. It is unbelievable.
It's going to be constant.
MLB season, less than 6 days, less than a week away. So that's good. But we got to start out with some serious news here. The Washington NFL team, with already being the cesspool that it is in terms of, how the team was being run and just the team name in general, that now going to be changed. Now we have these allegations coming out. At least 15 women who have expressed their, concerns with the environment that has happened in the offices and the higher ups of the teams of the franchise. And, I read this and I had to take a shower after. It was gross. It was disgusting. Just everything that you don't want happening, in an environment like this where women are always, singled out by, their looks. There's something that has always bothered me just in any environment. Every time I hear it, it's just always men they always want something out of women when it comes to like hiring them, when they work in a professional environment. It's always they need something more than just work for me. It's always something, it's always like sexual advances and just other things, like saying very provocative stuff. And it's just, it doesn't make any sense to me. I've never once walked into professional environment or into like a classroom anywhere and went, oh yeah, look at you today. Like it's not something that comes into my mind. But then these are grown men, millionaires, who can just they use their power and they can be threatening and just say whatever they want and get away with it because they know if anybody speaks out against them that the victim is going to suffer the consequences more so than the guy that's saying these things. And the culture of this needs to come to an end. All of it does. There has to be, we need to find equal ground with men and women in the workforce when it, just to the basic point of having respect for one another. We're all working towards the same goal. We're all on the same boat. We're not, we shouldn't be asserting, our perpetuated male dominance, which I don't think should exist at all, just over women. It shouldn't happen. And it doesn't start, the conversation shouldn't start when you're already a grown man and you're 40. Just start in schools, in high school, at the beginning, where it's just, you need to enforce just have basic respect, not just for other men, if speaking to us, but everyone, just men, women, anyone, any type of whatever way you identify. Everybody's got to have that mutual respect. And if you don't, this is what happens. You get these toxic cultures. And I'm gonna kick it to you two. I'm just, you expect Washington to have the bar really low, but the bar just keeps getting lower and lower. So I'm gonna kick it to Johnny Crane here.
The Washington franchise, when casual fans say, oh, my owner is the worst in sports. This team is the worst in sports. I always kick it to Washington because from the top to the bottom, on the field, off the field, there are always issues. And the issues that just got brought up recently in the past couple of days, past few hours, in fact, trumps everything tenfold. Because now you're looking at a situation that when it rains, it pours. And when you have abuse, allegations of sexual assault, rape, and so on and so forth with women, when one woman comes out, a lot more come out as well, usually. Because usually what happens is they don't want to come out because they're scared. But once that bar gets set in motion and one of them comes out, then a lot more come out. And that's why you're seeing 15 that we know of right now. And what's scary here is that we don't really know the overall magnitude of how big this issue is quite yet. We know it's top to bottom in the organization. We know it involves a lot of Snyder's, the owner of the Washington franchise's inner circle. It revolves a lot of it involves around paying off media members and giving media members information in exchange for sexual relations with particular individuals. It's a very ugly situation. It's an absolute shame that this is still a problem in society. But the scary thing I have here is that, again, we don't know the magnitude of this. And this has spanned, from what I have read, from 2006 to 2019. We're talking about 13 years of allegations here, and 13 years of different front office people, different scouts, different overall people that have ran that organization. This spans multiple GMs, this spans multiple scouts. And the scary thing is this might involve the owner himself and Dan Snyder. And the even scarier thing is, think of this. Is it very possible that they underwent the name change to sort of realize, oh, wait a minute, we're in hot water right now. All of this stuff is about to come out. Let's change the name and let's potentially get the heat off of this allegation stuff and get it onto something somewhat positive. Think of it like that. Instead of the Washington franchise name being retired, being somewhat of a good thing, now it's sort of seen as a negative thing because you use that to hide the much bigger problems that the organization has had that we know of right now. It's a very ugly situation.
Yeah, when I was gonna come up, I was gonna say, like, this is the last thing they need if they're trying to go through this, rebranding of the team. But when you put it like that, it makes perfect sense that they would bring this up right now to kind of put behind them this, disgusting idea of the power dominance that these men have over people, that they think they have over people just because they're in a position of power. And that's a huge issue in itself. We've seen it multiple times. Like the movie documentary Bombshell of the women that came forward of the Fox News guy in charge. I compare it to the UFC gymnastics with that doctor Jerry Nasser, when he was the team doctor, and he was sexually abusing these women. And the survivors came forward and they said that they will not stand for this. And it's almost the same in the sense, because it could have been a huge issue for that long. For like Johnny said, that gap is a huge year gap. That is so much time where these men can just put themselves into this situation and say, I have power over you. You want this job, you're going to do something for me. That's disgusting. That mentality is gross. We need to get away from that. Just because you're in a position of power does not make you better than any one person. You are in that position of power based on either you're rich or you're lucky. Let's be real here. That's the only way you get that position. So it makes zero sense why they think that they have this, this power paradox on other people, and it needs to stop. And there's been 15 as of now, 15 women have come up, have spoken up about this. Former employees of the Washington football team, saying that they were sexually harassed and it's just messed up. Like, it's just disgusting how people think that they can do these kind of things. And it almost, because we've been talking about the Washington football team name change for the last maybe like 2 weeks, and how it could become a positive thing. But now honestly, I don't care what they change their name, because all I'm going to think about is the people who did these horrible things to these women who did not deserve it by any means. They were just trying to do their job, and they got sexually harassed by men in power who think that they're better than others. Men are trash, and especially men in power are trash. It's become a meme at this point, but it's just as much fact as it is a joke. It shouldn't even be a joke. It's 100% real, and this needs to stop.
No, I 100% agree. The conversation needs to be had just with all men, really, because I mean, the response to this was just disgusting as well. I mean, you got guys saying, "Oh, well, it could have been so much worse than what it was." If that is just the bar right there, is, "Oh, it could have been much worse," that there's a problem with our culture right now. How we could just take advantage of women and just see it as, "Oh, well, it's not as big as we thought it was going to be." Now, granted, it hasn't come out yet. No one's, alleged that Dan Snyder was involved in any of it. He just, sort of just kept it under the rug until now. And there was some other pretty wild accusations being thrown out before the thing ever got released. And that was just a really bad look at journalism, how all these reporters were like, "Oh, it's disgusting. There's some, really crazy stuff going on." And then we get the actual thing, and it's not, what people I thought. Now, it could still be the case once more of it comes out. But when you're holding on for 2 days saying, "Oh, get ready for this," why are we hyping up a terrible, terrible thing in the first place? It's like, how bad do you need your clicks to get to this point to where, "Oh, be on the lookout for women being victimized in this scenario here, being, taken advantage of all the time. Be on the lookout for that." It's just gross on journalism's part too. And to add on to that, it's not just, the front office guys involved in this scenario too. It's media members as well, taking advantage of women, and also trying to, get all the scoops as well to get for some of the beat reporters. It's all around just a bad look for everybody.
I have a good question for both of you. What do you think is a worse situation? It comes out that Dan Snyder was involved and was doing these things, or Dan Snyder knew about them and tried to hide them? What's the worst situation?
It doesn't matter. It's all
exactly.
It's all bad.
It
It's going to be a bad look, and the best thing he could do is sell the team.
Exactly.
And fans of the team shouldn't be worried about, "Oh, well, they're going to move the team." No, it's get rid of the owner, or your franchise is always going to have this on, weight held on them. It's why the Clippers, when Donald Sterling, referred to his players, he's practically being a slave owner, pretty much. The Clippers, they got rid of him immediately. He left, and Steve Ballmer just done an incredible job with the franchise. And I think moving forward, Dan Snyder's got to realize, okay, you know what? I don't want this holding down the fan base, the players, and just the entire community. I just got to sell the team so that they can have that clean slate. Now, whether or not it forces the team to move, it doesn't really matter at this point, because Dan Snyder and anybody else that's still on the team that's been involved in this, it's all got to be wiped out.
But when you say clean slate, when you look at all these allegations that Washington has on its back right now, all excluding anything else that comes up, to clean that slate, when you look at the entire legal process, I'm no lawyer, but taking all the legal processes that are probably going to have to go through, we're talking months, if not years, of legal processes, legal court cases, and so on, to clean everything up somewhat. Is it really possible? Yes, Washington is a sports franchise. Anyone would want to own one. But is Washington in that unique situation where you can't sell the team because it's just that bad right now? The stock is so low. Who would want to put that on them? Because, again, the legal costs are going to be exponential. The media and all the publicity is going to be extremely negative, no matter what the name change becomes. Is it worth it to another multimillionaire, billionaire out there to say, "Oh, yes, Washington might be pretty cheap right now due to all this, but do I want to fund and do I want to go through the publicity and everything that is going on right now?" If I was a billionaire and I was a multimillionaire wanting to make a profit, because unfortunately sports is a business and finances are involved into making a profit, Do you think a millionaire or billionaire is going to say, you know what, I want to buy them right now and potentially make a profit when more than likely they're not in the grand scheme of things?
You know what this sounds like? All right, Johnny, are you inciting a fold the franchise type of scenario here? Is that this road we're going down with Washington? I mean, I'm all for it. I'm all for it. 31 teams doesn't sound bad at all.
No. I was literally just going to say, you buy the team, but you relocate it. Relocate
Where?
it somewhere else. St. Louis. St. Louis needs a football team again. Who cares? They may not be the Rams anymore, but they can still have a football team.
San Diego.
Ooh.
You're welcome.
I like that.
We are going to move into the weekend preview. A lot of stuff going on. We have a golf tournament underway. Finally, it feels like it's been forever since we've had some legit golf going on. With the Memorial Tournament, Tony Finau leading at a -9 currently with Ryan Palmer. Tiger Woods and Brooks Koepka not doing so hot. They are sort of on the cut line at -3. Both of them are at -3, and just a lot of big names at the not just struggling. Bubba Watson, Varner III, Charles Schwartzel. I don't think Bryson DeChambeau +2. So yeah, could be a weekend where we see someone new get into the fold here come when the big tournaments come, like the Open. And is the Masters happening this fall? I forgot about the whole golf schedule for the remainder of the year. I don't know what the plans are. I think the U.S. Open is happening. I think they got that all squared away. But yeah, it's good to see golf. It's good to see live golf again.
I wasn't even thinking about golf pre-COVID, so I mean, it just kind of. I mean, I love golf. I love going out and playing golf, like with my homies and with my friends, like and my family. Like we always try to get on the course, but me, I'm just the guy who power swings everything. So I'm just swinging for the fences every time. It's not really the best look, but I am a fan of golf. I just don't watch it. That's the only thing. It's the only issue. I'm gonna take Jack Nicklaus in this coming tournament. I think he's gonna be a guy to watch. Or no. I take that back. John Daly, 100% John Daly.
Bold strategy, Cotton.
Legend. He's a legend.
Yeah, I mean, parody is the name for. Wait, what?
Oh, I was about to say my mic was muted. I was just saying nothing from Johnny on the golf side, but Johnny likes to take 6 seconds in between when he's supposed to speak. So
yeah, I'm trying to make sure I don't talk on mute again when y'all roasted me last week for doing that. Yes, sorry for making sure the mute button is off before I talk. But yeah, golf. A lot of big names are not doing too hot. Bubba Watson, Tiger Woods, Hideki Matsuyama. Golf, you have all the super names out there, Jordan Spieth, the Tiger Woods of the world, and so on. But in tournaments like this, building up to the big tournaments like the U.S. Open, the Masters, and so on, it's really key for a lot of maybe the under-the-radar guys to really make their name known. And maybe, a name that might not be known, 2 days ago might be known after a win. So, even though all those names are being subpar right now in the +3, +4, in the cut range, it gives an opportunity for other golfers to maybe make a name for themselves. So parity is the name for golf. I think that's how you can really get a lot of viewers. So we'll see what happens.
I actually do have a real prediction. Like this is 100% real. I'm going to go with Gary Woodland. He's sitting at 6 under right now. The leaders, Tony Finau and Ryan Palmer, are 9 under right now. He's only 3 under. He's got 3 to go. I don't know how much is left, but I think Gary would be the guy to go with. He might have come out with a strong day. Leaders have to stay on that lead. They have to be on the constant pressure. And I think a guy he's not completely the bottom. He's tied for 4th right now. He's definitely got a good shot. So I'm going to go with I guess you can call him an underdog in Gary Woodland. You always let him root for the underdog.
Moving on to the motorsports side, another stacked weekend. NASCAR. How do I put this kindly? How can I be kind to Texas Motor Speedway? Oh, I can't because the track sucks now. 334 laps in the Cup Series. Absolutely ridiculous. Good thing I'm not doing full-on coverage. That will go to Johnny Crane. And before we talk about the race itself, these two and others have been sort of sparking this heated debate about the scoring graphic, the timing graphic for Fox and NBC. I love the horizontal one where it just shows the constant order of the drivers. Granted, it does take a minute to get back to first place, but if your attention span is respectable, then you get it, you understand it. But then there are some who prefer the vertical, having their TV cut off, to have 20% of their screen cut off for a scoring graphic. Nothing, no disrespect, but I guess you just don't like getting all the live action in. You would rather have, how we look right now. That's how you want your live events to be from now on. So, everybody has different tastes, so we'll go with that. But I don't see the love, the love for a vertical scoring graphic over the, as I believe that was a street weeper going by, or street thanks stupid. Yeah, I don't see the reason for the vertical. Did y'all not hear that? Nothing? Is my mic that good? Is my
I didn't
mic
hear
back
anything.
off the
I don't know
background?
all of a sudden
I
you're
heard
talking
it.
about street sweepers.
Oh, it was loud as hell. It's just street sweeper just going by. It was super loud. So just assuming the mic picked it up. We're having fun on a Friday. But yeah, back to the graphic. It's just something I've gotten used to, and I get, as if you're a new fan, why you would want the vertical one. It shows, 20 drivers. It shows where they are. But I've been so accustomed to the horizontal graphic that when it went away in 2018 with Fox in the that weekend, it just sort of threw me off. Granted, it's gotten better because it was just black. It wasn't really transparent where you could see through it, but now it's slightly more tolerable, but I still prefer the horizontal. So you two have at it. Roast me, although you can't, because I know I'm in the right here.
It's not just. Oh no, I got this, Johnny. Hold on. It's not just the fact of new racing fans might like the vertical look of the graphics. It's also just people who can read that like, vertical graphics, and it just makes more sense to have it vertical because you can see 1 through 20 at any given time. With the horizontal one, you see the top 3 leaders, yay, whoop-de-doo, and then it's just a running ticker. It's a running ticker of what you want to see, of everyone else in the race. That doesn't work for me. I want to see where the guys I like are stacking up vertically, and how fast they are and how close they are to the next guy they're trying to pass. It makes perfect sense to have them vertical. You take a look real quick, then you go right back to the race. It's so much easier. I don't understand are you okay, Cam? Like, are you literally, you're all upset about Texas, and now you're trying to wage war on the great graphics war of 2020. If 2020 already wasn't bad enough, are you okay?
Look, I'll be a lot more calmer in 2 weeks when I'm back in my apartment and I don't have to have this background. I'll actually have a nice backdrop to my screen. It won't just be this Rich Report, graphic here. It would actually be my apartment room, which I miss dearly. I hate being in this garage. It's 175 degrees every day in here. So in what episode would that be? Like 14, 15, I'll be back in my apartment. So, looking forward to that day where I'm finally sitting back in my apartment. But for now, I'm going to be a little bit on the my tempers are going to be high for, for 14 more days, and then I'll be cool as a cucumber for the remainder.
All right, back to graphics. Johnny, come in for the kill real quick.
I always come in for the kill. Let me give you, hold on.
Exactly. That's why I made you go last.
Let me ask you this, Cameron. Can you still see me?
Yes, I can see you.
Yes. You can still see the race when the graphic is right here.
I don't get why your hand's raised, though. It looks pretty dumb. It's cut off.
You can still see me, okay? The graphic doesn't take up 20% of the screen. It takes up about 9, 10. I'll give it 10, okay? Not a big issue at all. The second issue, let me give you a scenario. Let's say you just got home from an 8 to 5 shift. You went to the grocery store. You came home. You have groceries all packed up in your hand because you don't want to go to the car twice to get all the groceries. You want to get everything in one load. You quickly turn on the TV. A NASCAR race is on, and you're wanting to see where Kevin Harvick is. You want to know where he is. But you have to wait. You have to keep on waiting because the horizontal graphic is in the 20 to 30 range. I'm seeing where Quinn Houff is and Daniel Suarez is, and I have to wait for Kevin Harvick, who's in 8th. He's running P8. I have to wait for him to go all the way back around, which will take about 2 to 3 minutes. Whereas if the vertical graphic is there, I can see, oh, wait, in 5 seconds, oh, he's in P8. Great. Let me go put up my milk and Cheerios and everything.
I think you mean Fruit Loops.
Yes.
Okay. If we want to make an argument for the vertical graphic, here we go. If it's for, the new fans, just for anyone, we should be doing it by number. Show the number instead, because not everybody can identify a driver by their name. Sometimes they just recognize that number. When you see 11, you go, oh, that's Denny Hamlin. You see 4, oh, that's Kevin Harvick. 9, Chase Elliott. If you just see their name, you don't, I forget. They do show the number, but I think it's small and it's in yellow as well. I have to go back and look. But, in NASCAR, not so much Formula One and IndyCar, you go by the driver's number. You identify them by their numbers. So just showing, Austin Dillon, you sort of have to go, oh, wait, what number was he? More so than when you see the number, you go, oh, 3, Austin Dillon. So I think if we want to push the vertical graphic narrative here, then I think that's the better way to go than just showing the last name instead. I just think it'd be more engaging for newer fans, especially in a time where I think newer fans are going to show up.
I also have a bad taste in my mouth for NBC's production because the first time NBC had a production, my pick for winning the race ended up as a DNF. So I don't appreciate the bad juju that NBC left on Martin Truex back when he was in that big pileup. I forgot where I think it was Dover. Was it Dover? No, it wasn't Dover. I don't know. I don't remember what race it was.
Indianapolis?
Yeah, sure, that one. Whatever it was.
You're talking about the big pileup on pit road.
Yeah, Ryan Blaney's pit member got busted up.
Dover.
Where did Dover
come from?
I don't know. They have weird names. I'm sorry. Like, just call it race 1, race 2, race 3. And it just
the Brickyard. What a terrible name, Cameron.
Shut up, Johnny. Can we let's move on. Let's just move on from this.
All right, yeah. Speaking of Texas, 334 laps. Johnny Kramer will have coverage of both the trucks and Cup race. I will do Xfinity. Thank God, the best series of the 3. At least I get to do that while Johnny's got to be stuck with the Cup series for 334 laps. Formula One heads to the Hungarian Grand Prix. Lewis Hamilton should be the downright favorite. He's got 7 wins and 13 races, 11 top 5s, and an average finish of 3.8. Gentlemen, is there anything, Ferrari obviously needs to pick it up, but anything else, any other storylines we need to look into for this Sunday?
I'd say Max Verstappen finally cementing himself as a top threat for the first time in this season. He needs to do something. He needs to step it up. Team Red Bull's got to go for something, and they got to put faith in Max Verstappen. They got to give him a better car. And then it's also on Verstappen as well. He's got to make sure he doesn't get into any scuffles and runs the right lines and make sure that he stays out of anybody's way and makes good and has good overtaking ability. So I think Max Verstappen is a dark horse. I don't know if he's going to win because Lewis Hamilton is just an absolute ridiculous driver, but I think Max Verstappen needs to step up and actually cement himself as a possible contender for a top 3.
Yeah, Ferrari's sitting in a nice and pretty 5th in the constructor standings with 19 points. Mercedes is really blowing everyone away right now with 80 points, but really it's that 2nd, 3rd, and 4th spot. That includes Red Bull that really needs to have a good race to get back into the mix for the top constructor spot. Now, yes, it is early, but for Red Bull and the sort, they need to really capitalize on this race because while Mercedes has been dominant so far, the overall speed of Mercedes it's not invincible. And I think a lot of the lower manufacturers could definitely capitalize if they run the right lanes and they get the right speed in the right corners, like you said, David. So Red Bull and such, within that 2 to 4 range, those manufacturers, they need a good race.
Team Williams all the way. Yay.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be the same Williams team next year as well. George Russell was linked to Mercedes. There was a rumor going around that he might replace Bottas, but That's not happening, so you have the same Williams team for next year. IndyCar, another doubleheader weekend at Iowa. I think the biggest storyline here is Alexander Rossi needs a good weekend. He needs to pick up some top 5 finishes because this is a very short season. I believe it's 14 races long, and we're already on race 5, so it's time to go now. If you're 50 points out of the chain to bleed, it is time. There's no more excuses. It's time to go if you are a title contender.
It's time for anybody not by the name of Scott Dixon to really step up. 3-0 so far.
We're going to save UFC for the end. We're going to move into our Fruit Loops of the week, everyone's favorite segment, especially Dan Clark's. Definitely his favorite segment. We're going to start with Johnny Crane as he has to get to work very soon.
Now, look, whenever I look at a power ranking or the standings or an opinion piece on where certain players rank, where certain divisions rank, I usually take it for a grain of salt. It doesn't bother me. But getting into arguments with you two gentlemen and my other colleagues made me get pretty agitated over one particular list that I saw in regards to the NFL division standing rankings. Mr. John Breach, let me ask you something. How do you have the AFC South as the best AFC division over the likes of, say, the AFC North that has arguably the best team in all of football in the Baltimore Ravens? How are you going to put the Tennessee Titans, who maybe could be a playoff contender if Derrick Henry stays healthy after taking an insane amount of snaps last year? Maybe if Brian Tannehill has another magical year and all the planets align and he actually is worth that big contract they gave him. Why would you put the AFC South over the AFC North when the Jacksonville Jaguars roam your division? Can you just explain that? Now, look, the AFC North does have a little bit of parity, but the Baltimore Ravens are going to be good. The Cleveland Browns are going to be much more improved. The Pittsburgh Steelers will have James Conner and Ben Roethlisberger hopefully healthy. And then the Cincinnati Bengals, even though they might go 4-12, 5-11, they're still going to have Joe Burrow to throw to. And, not throw to. He'll be throwing to some nice weapons. They'll be entertaining too. So even when you look at it from an entertainment perspective, how is the AFC North? Oh, where'd you put them? Oh, yeah, 6 out of 8 in the divisions. How do you put them lower than the South? Mr. Breach, I don't get it. Can you explain yourself?
All right. So I'm assuming it's going to be my turn, right, Cam? So here's the deal. We got comedian Corinne Fisher on Twitter right now. I pulled up her tweet, and tweet says, and I quote, in all caps, by the way, so I don't want you guys to miss that. Oh, I'm sorry. Is there a fist fight disguised as sports every day now? Really? We're still on this? UFC and MMA is just a fist fight? I mean, I get it. You can call it human cockfighting because they are fighting for money, but they do it on their own volition. They do it at their own will. They want to do these things. They want to fight. UFC is probably one of the best sports leagues in the country and in the world right now. Let's be real here. I mean, MLB management, terrible. NBA, decent, I guess. NFL, God knows they're garbage right now, especially with the news that we just talked about at the beginning of this episode. UFC is so good. You just got to give it a chance. Every time I have somebody say, I don't like the violence. Well, how about this? If you don't like the violence, why do you watch football every Sunday where at least 3-4 people get carted off the field every week? UFC, barely any issues. Yeah, they get injured because they're actually hitting each other. But at least they're not hitting each other with 10-pound pads and metal helmets going at each other. It is an absolute mess that people still think that UFC is a violent sport. I mean, yes, there is violence into it, but there's also respect involved. People who absolutely hate each other, who are going into a fight, actually give them the respect they deserve after. Perfect example: Jorge Masvidal and Kamaru Usman at UFC 251 just a few weeks ago. They were talking so much smack to each other before the fight, and then after the fight was over, they came together and they said, hey, good fight. It's respect. You don't see that much respect in a lot of different sports. UFC is different. And because the reason there's so much respect is because of the discipline that comes in between all the different fight styles that come together. Jiu-jitsu, super respectful. Muay Thai, super respectful. It is all those things that come together that make UFC what it is, and it makes it fun to watch. So it's not, I'm sorry, Corinne, just a fist fight disguised as a sport. It is a real sport and is probably better than anything that we've ever seen.
Hey, now, I agree with that. However, let's give some hockey some love, too, okay? It's up there in one of the best leagues, too, okay? I agree everything else, though. Move on, Karen.
Guys dancing on ice and trying to put a black little thing into
No. All right.
Stop.
That's enough out of you. You're muted. All right. Wednesday was the All-Star race, and a lot of us were pretty upset because Michael McDowell, after being moved in turn 2, which, the bump and run is a normal thing at Bristol Motor Speedway, decides on the next straightaway to turn left onto Bubba Wallace, wreck him, turn him to the right, which is pretty much criminal in any form of racing if you ask anyone. He would have been my Fruit Loop of the week. But no, Austin Wade himself, an irrelevant driver in the truck series, only has 7 top 10s in 91 truck races, decides to tweet out good after the Bubba Wallace wreck. And then after he said something smart about, Bubba Wallace's interview. He said, and I quote, "I don't think a man who fears God is a joke. As a follower of Christ, this was simply hard to listen to. I think McDowell does a lot for the kingdom of God." Look, he wasn't saying that, because he's Christian, he's a bad guy, or he's a joke because he's Christian. No, he's saying that, when he's going to call him, he's going to be like, I'm a God-fearing man. I never do something like that on purpose. Like that stuff, just to save face. That's all that Bubba was saying. And of course, the driver is going to say something like that when he gets turned right on a straightaway. It's just bonkers. Oh, and by the way, Bubba did replace Austin Wayne Self for a race back last year at Martinsville. And where did Bubba finish? He got a top 10. Austin Wayne Self only has 7 of those in 91 attempts in truck races. So I don't know why he's talking. There's a reason why, I had a rivalry with him in career mode on NASCAR Heat 2 and NASCAR Heat 3. I had to dump him for a reason. But now I know that, those reasons are justified now. We're going to let Johnny get to work here. Thank you, sir, for always being on the show. You're a great co-host. We love you, and we will see you on Monday.
Thank you.
All right, Chief. It's just you and me. We got UFC Fight Island 2, although this is the 3rd event on Fight Island. Joseph Benavidez and Davison Figueiredo going at it once again for the vacant flyweight title. The last time around, Figueiredo, or I'm going to call him Figgy, knocked out Joseph Benavidez clean in the second round. Benavidez, wants to say, because of the headbutt, I was hurt, and that's how he got the advantage to knock me out. Okay. Figueiredo, I've always been high on this guy. Great fighter, has wicked skills, very, very fast, very up-tempo kind of guy. I expect them to take this one. Now that he's on weight, I think we will get a now fair champion, a legit champion. He made weight, and I think he pulls out the win this weekend. What do you think?
I couldn't agree more. I think Benavidez's career is behind him. I think he's had enough time to try and actually get into a point. I mean, let's be real. This is for a flyweight. This is for the flyweight belt, so it's not like it's going to be, big ticket action we're going to see. But I think Figgy's the guy to go with. I think Figgy's got, a better career ahead of him. 18-1 record against a 28-6 record. I think if you are going to try and pick somebody to actually make the flyweight division something to watch, it would be Figueiredo. I think definitely he's the guy to go with in that situation. But honestly, I don't see much left in this card that actually intrigues me that much. I know it's just a fight night card, but still, like with Fight Island 2, I'm sure it's going to do fine. But the co-main actually seemed more interesting to me with Jack Hermanson going up against Kelvin Gastelum. What do you think of that one?
Yes, I like the fight, although Hermanson is coming off a knockout loss to Jared Cannonier, which that guy is just hit or miss. He's either going to knock out his opponent or he is going to lose in a boring decision fight. So good for him. But this is a big fight for Kelvin Gastelum. I mean, just last year, he was coming off a fight of the year contender against Israel Adesanya. Could have been champion, but that didn't happen. He was supposed to fight Robert Whittaker for the title. Obviously, we all know what happened to Whittaker. A very scary situation there. So this is a make or break really for him, because he's going to take a big drop if he does not perform well or if he loses this fight in incredible fashion. So Gastelum needs, I cannot stress enough, needs the win.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because in 2019, he went, he didn't get a win. He lost to Izzy in the interim middleweight championship fight. And then when Darren Till made the move up from welterweight to middleweight, he took him out in 3 rounds. And that wasn't, the most exciting fight, but I think that showed more that Darren Till's a guy to watch in the middleweight division than really Kelvin is. So Kelvin really needs to put people back on his, put him, like, implant himself in the minds of people to say, oh, look, Kelvin is still dangerous. Because Kelvin's been a top guy in the middleweight division for a while. The middleweight, before Izzy kind of got, Adesanya got to the point where he is, it was really between, I guess, Kelvin and Robert Whittaker, who was going to be the better middleweight. So now it makes sense that he needs to come up and actually show his stuff and reclaim what the mindset of, I'm still a top guy, I can still do this, and come out and win. But Hermansson's going to be a tough opponent. 20-5. He looks really good every time he comes out, and it's going to be a fun fight. So that one kind of intrigues me more than the main event, unfortunately. But the main event could really see, the changing of the guard in the flyweights, and could really put the flyweights at something where they can actually hold their own in a main event of some type. So we'll see what happens with that one.
Yeah, it's not to say that, this entire card is terrible, because there are some performers on this. Mark Casey's back. Ariane Lipski's fighting. And then the prelim, Joseph Duffy back in the UFC for the first time since last March when he lost to Mark Casey. So it's cool to see him back. Very underutilized, very underrated fighter who I think could make another run towards the rankings with a win tomorrow.
If I can pick one under the radar pick to make for this Fight Island 2 card, it would be in the prelims with Montel Jackson at bantamweight going up against Brett Johns. Montel's 9-1 right now in bantamweight division, absolutely stacked right now. It is ridiculous. So if he can prove himself, he could even, and he keeps getting more wins, he could even put his name in there. It's gonna be, I can't even talk about how stacked the bantamweight division is. Petr Yan just won, just got his belt, got the belt he deserved against Jose Aldo. Aljamain Sterling's should be the guy to come up next. If he's not, there's going to be a riot, because I don't know who else you can pick. Our boy Sugar Show is in the conversation soon. Cody Garbrandt is back. And now if Montel Jackson gets this win and a couple more, he could put his name in there too. It's a good time to be a bantamweight right now.
Absolutely. That will do it for this episode of the Rich Report. Of course, you can listen to all our shows if you missed any in the past on Apple and Spotify. Let's watch our other videos and other podcasts on YouTube. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Enjoy your weekend. Have a fantastic weekend, and we will see you on Monday.